arise on this debate there. I just want to take up the Premier on one of the issues that he talked about. He said, what are we doing on cost of living? One thing I know that the current government is not doing is they're not giving that discount on car rego that was enjoyed by so many Queenslanders. By getting rid of that, that represents an increase in car rego of about 24% to many Queensland families. And they're not delivering that really highly valued electricity rebate. We brought in that electricity rebate when we were in government, and so many working, struggling Queensland families said, thank you, you saved us. You saved us from this, that and the other. It was hugely appreciated, what we gave back to ordinary working Queensland families from the assets that they owned. So the answer to that question is, what are they doing about cost of living? And the answer is not that much. Speaker, what we did learn from this first estimates by the LNP government is that they haven't kept their word and they cannot keep their promises. Firstly, they promised to keep Queenslanders safer. Now, Queenslanders I talk to don't feel the LNP are making them feel safer. They do feel that the LNP is massaging crime statistics. We heard the LNP say before the election that they would fix what they call the youth crime crisis. They don't tell us that they would cherry pick the data after the election. We heard estimates about the handling of the victim of crime statistics. What we did learn through the estimates process is that the tradie who has his tools stolen from a ute is not counted as a victim of crime. The LNP promised to drive down the number of victims of crime. I heard a minister say that this morning, but it's clear that they want to do that by massaging the data. They will literally reduce the numbers of victims of crime, but not the actual number of Queenslanders who have been victims. Secondly, the Premier stated that he would deliver top-class health services where people live. That's what he said before the election. What they didn't say was that the LNP would spend more on advertising their hospital construction plan than on a campaign to encourage Queenslanders to get flu vaccinations. Now, thirdly, the Premier promised that his ministers would be held accountable. If they didn't do their job, off they go. But what we saw in estimates was an extraordinary effort to protect those poorly performing LNP ministers. As the Courier Mail said, the member for Moggill ran a heavy protection cordon around ministers, leaping in to stop proceedings when the questioning got a little too hot for the government. But what I want to say was that the efforts to protect the member for Mudgeeraba, well, they were actually badly needed. Speaker, I can ask here, have we ever seen such a worse performance in estimates? Now, in estimates, we heard about a disaster, a place where there were 2 explosions. Speaker, we're not talking about the Callide power station there. We're talking about the minister's ministerial career. We're talking about the members for Mudgeeraba's ministerial career. 2 explosions or 2 implosions. She has been her own documented disaster. And let me give you an illustration of how poorly the minister performed this time in estimates. Now, there are 10 questions to the minister from ourselves, and one was put to the minister 4 times. The minister was protected by 14 points of order, 5 on 1 question. The minister drew 7 points of order from us on relevance, and not one of those 10 questions was fully answered or adequately answered by the minister. The minister could not even answer a question about who was messaging her about Callide, even though we'd obtained those messages through freedom of information. And incidentally, the minister said they got a message from a member of the public about Callide. Can I ask, which members of the public around that area do have the member's mobile number? One of the things is, the minister could not even handle questions from her own people. There were 20 government questions in finance, trade and training. 9 went to the minister, 11 went to DGs and CEOs. The minister got less than half the dixes. They could not even trust her to answer the dixes. What I do want to say by concluding is that the LNP said this process was an opportunity for them to deliver on their promises. They have not delivered a promise for a fresh start.
Thanks, Member for Marlborough.